We are born of love. Love is our mother. Rumi. And Maya Angelou said, to describe my mother would be to write about a hurricane in its perfect power. I think my kids think that about. I don't think they think of it as much as a compliment. But I'm sure my kids sometimes think that, oh my God, my mother. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example why they have those things about me, because they're very real. So the other day, Bill and I, we go to pick up my son Michael, who's in from Seattle, for a visit, for a 10-day visit, which was great. So Thursday night, I had all my boys together, and Friday night, I had them all together, and I'm just like in my glory. I'm in my total glory. And but when we picked him up at the airport the other day, he hasn't been home in 2 years. And I have seen him out there, a little less than that, because he did see when Lila was born, my granddaughter. And so he's in the airport, and he was in the far end of the airport. And when Bill and I walked in and Bill noticed him, he came running down, and we went into this like 3-way hug, which is great. And then we had a bite to eat. We had to wait for his luggage. And then when we were leaving, I'm helping him. Bill went to get the car. So Bill's outside with the car, and we didn't know where each other was. And he's telling me, so, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I want to go home, and I wanted you. Why are you laughing already? Did I tell you this? And I want to get home. And Michael says, he thinks he still has the other car that he had. I said, no, he has a new car. And we go over to the car quite enthusiastically. And Michael opens the door to let me in the car, and it's not Bill's car. Some man, I think he was Chinese, looked at me and went, no! And I was absolutely hysterical, and my laughter just filled the terminal. And this woman who was on the phone trying to talk to somebody, she could barely keep a straight face because she had witnesses. That might be why my kids have that thought about me, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. And the thing I love about Michael is he's my only son who's not totally embarrassed by my wildness. And I really seriously appreciate that. And so there's a poem. It's a bit of a long poem, but I want to read it to you. And it's not really specifically about being a mother. However, it is about that raw state of being. And it's by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, The Invitation. Many of you know this, and many of you have read this, but it just feels right for today. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us, be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours or mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver and full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Uriah Mountain Dreamer. Who are you? That's what this poem says to me. It's the question that it begs us to look at. Who are we? Not who was the personality of the world that gets accepted. I forget where I was recently. I was in some company, and I was in company of people that not people necessarily in study. And I could recognize how much the world is so dependent on a personality that they have developed and created so they can function in the world. You know that? You know, the people who have had to learn to be nice or learn to be funny or who have learned to be the smartest one or the advisors. And so people take these personalities and they put them over themselves so they can go out and function in the world. But they're not necessarily ready to tell you that a little bit every day they die inside because they're not madly in love with themselves. And that's for me, our journey. That's our journey. Our journey is to get in touch with that place. And that is the legacy that you and I leave to the world and to our families and to our children and to our grandchildren. Not that they we get to be remembered as, he was this, wonderful artist or wonderful speaker or wonderful musician. But no, he sat with me when I was in pain and embraced me, and I could cry in front of her. And that people get to touch that raw, authentic being that we are underneath the levels and the many, many layers of personality that we have created for ourselves to be able to function in the world. Are you with me? That doesn't make you not beautiful. Those are probably wonderful personalities. They're probably wonderful things you've put together, almost like masks they're sometimes referred to, that you have developed to be able to function in the world. They're still beautiful and lovely. But there's a you inside of there that if you don't know the difference between you and that mask, you and that personality, if you don't know the difference, that's where the trouble comes in. Do you understand? You have to know the difference between the you that you have developed to function and the you, the raw, authentic, beautiful, magnificent you that exists at the heart and the center of your being. And then to be willing to feel when something prompts you to feel without being embarrassed by that feeling, without having to fix it, without having to hide it, without having to justify it. Sometimes people come here, especially in the beginning, and it's their first time here, and they cry, or sometimes a few times in, and they're crying, and very often they apologize. Oh, my Lord, please. Because when we touch those pure emotions, we're so full and we're so alive, and it's so perfect. It is so perfect. We had people here the other day that are helping us, because I want to keep saying to you, and you need to hear this. We potentially, or we have to get out. I mean, no, that's not even potential. At some point, we just don't know when. We have to move. So, we're going to have big conversations about how you are there to help this community, how you can support us in that transition. So we're sitting there with a couple of these individuals, and I was talking about some of the work that we do. And I'm sitting there crying. I've been very mushy lately. But talking about the work that we do and the hearts that we touch and the lives we've affected and how people walk a little more taller or feel a little safer in the world, or how their relationships are better and how they are incredible citizens of this globe because of what they've learned. And I realized we can't let this go away. Now, you can get aspects of it someplace else, but you won't have this formula. If you love this formula, you've got, to honor it. Anyway, that's a different thing, but the point was, I was so touched that I couldn't help but cry in front of these people, these real estate people. I don't know what they were thinking, but I was just even so moved by the work that I know that we do here. So our legacy is your authenticity. That's your true legacy. You have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of money, that's not what matters. It is who you are and the lives that you touch. I walked into my kid's house yesterday, and my grandbaby, now when she hears my voice, it's the greatest thing in the world. Oh my God. She hears my voice and she comes. They don't have a big house, but she comes from wherever she is now, running up, and she's waiting to have Grandma pick her up. It's glorious, delicious, amazing. Oh my God. And I don't know why, but she just kind of laid her head on my shoulder for, a couple of moments. It was just soaking me up. And it was like, oh my God. Wait, why am I telling you that? Okay, that's the... because that's the legacy. I want them, when I'm gone, I want them to have that feeling in their bones, in every cell of their body, that they can remember, oh, my grandmother loved me. And so my two older boys had they had my mother around, and then Seth didn't. But I used to, when he was little, try to infect him with that idea, and I'd say to him, oh, your grandmother would have loved you. She would have loved you so much. Just to try in a little way to plant that seed. You're going to wonder where this is coming from, but I'll tie it all together. Our brains... Your brain does not know the difference between real and imagined. Do you know that? So professionals of many different works, athletes, have been using this knowledge for decades upon decades now. It's known. To imagine a reality for yourself and to continue to imagine a reality is not, it's not you being Pollyanna-ish. It is you calling forth an experience in your life and getting it at a cellular level. There is a story that I found out about the power of imagination when I was doing, and Albert Einstein said the imagination is more important than knowledge. More important than knowledge. Now you have to use it effectively. Some of you are using it all the time. You're using it very poorly. You're using it every time you ruminate over an argument. You're using it incorrectly through worry. You use it when you let your mind get captured by someone's complaints or upset or gossip, okay? That's a misuse, because if you start creating stories while you're listening, you are misusing the imagination, okay? So the story that I found out was the power of imagination is the ultimate creative power. One dramatic example of the power of imagination is that of an Air Force Colonel, George Hall. He was a POW locked in the dark box of a North Vietnamese prison for 7 grueling years. Every day, Hall played a full game of golf in his imagination. 1 week after he was released from his POW camp, he entered the Greater New Orleans Open and shot a 76. The power of the imagination. So, We each have within us, we have great memories of mom. Some of you have great memories. Some of you have not so great memories. But you are not at the mercy of those memories, and you have everything within your mind and your heart to transform those memories and to recreate the reality that you want through the application of your imagination. Okay? So to my memory bank, my mother slept all the time. I didn't know she was actually drunk. My brother informed me of that, so that created a whole new reality for me. But my mind, I just thought my mother was sleeping, so I didn't have a judgment around it. The judgment came after someone gave me a story about it, okay? So you and I get to recreate the reality of our dreams, even if your mother is alive. Because nothing is more potent than consciousness, and consciousness seeps into places, into the heart, and in through a cellular level, and into the collective mind in a way that nothing else can. So when you use the power of imagination to heal and transform an experience, it changes you. And then when you are changed in how you hold that reality, and then you engage someone differently, the entire formula changes. Are you with me? So this is what I'd like you to do. I'm going to take you, and I didn't ask you, John, but at some point, would you just give me a little background, soft background? Thank you. So I'm going to take you on a little guided meditation. Now, and I want to say one thing else to you. You are in charge of the direction and the attention of your mind. You are in charge with the direction and the attention of your mind, and no one else. This is the greatest tool, the greatest muscle you have, and it is for us to learn to exercise that muscle. Right, George? So we place our attention where we desire it to create and recreate the reality of our choice. And that reality will change even if the person doesn't. Don't wait for evidence. When you transform you're already having a new experience. Okay? So if you will, close your eyes, if you're willing to. And just go into a sweet and deep place in this moment. Take 2 to 3 deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And simply release any energy that might not feel absolutely wonderful in this moment. And get grounded and fully present. So Rumi says, love is our mother. Where your experience of mom lives in your psyche, that's where we go to now to heal it and transform it. Because when we heal where it lives, when we heal the place where these things live within our subconscious, everything begins to transform. And mom being one of the most critical relationships you will have ever had, it's a good place to begin. So right now, I ask you to release the image of your mother's face for a moment and to call forth from within your imagination qualities, the ultimate qualities that you believe a mother should have. Begin to recognize the energy of a mother if you were able to design her. how would she listen to you? How would she greet you? Would she always be enthusiastic to see you? How would she stroke your head, kiss your wounds, tuck you in? How would her compassion show up? Her support call forth from within you, through your imagination, the qualities that you desire. And trust me when I tell you, if your birth mom did not possess these qualities, she wanted to. She wanted to. I promise you that. Now take these qualities and bundle them up in a ball and tuck them away in your heart and your imagination. See yourself taking them and compressing them and placing them in your heart. And then bring forth the image of your mother's face. And through your heart, see her. Through the eyes of love and compassion and acceptance, see her. And know that this human being before you probably needed the kind of love that you have now if she's no longer with you. If she was unskilled, she probably would love to experience the skills that you have accumulated now in your heart. So see her through your heart. See her through your compassion. See her through forgiveness. And transform how your mother lives in your heart, in your mind, and in your energy body. And when you're ready, walk up to her in your imagination and throw your arms around her and tell her you love her, that you accept her as she is and as she is not, that you accept her as she is and as she is not. And let yourself be the carrier of this message. And then thank her and walk away. And when you're ready, by taking another breath or two from your upper chest, return into the room. You and I are the place where God resides. You and I are the place where love resides. You and I are the place where transformation happens. It's funny that we think sometimes that our mother owes us something. Anybody think that your mother owed you something because she gave birth to you? We have that feeling sometimes, don't we? We do. I got news for you. Leave her alone. It's the same thing. I was talking to Chris this morning before service, and I said to her, I have learned the perfect parenting tool rule, whatever, guideline, if you want to have great relationships with your kids. Leave them alone. Stop expecting them to be what they're not. Stop wanting them to be different than they are. Stop wanting them to be any way other than the being that they are, and love them as is. All your relationships with your children will be spot on. Now do that for your mother. Do that for your mother. Leave her alone. Come on, everyone say that. Leave her alone. Does that make sense? Anything that's right or wrong is in your mind. If it's right or wrong, it's in your mind and it's my mind, and it's a story that we have made up, and then we've attached ourselves to that story, and we're invested in those stories. Are you not invested in the stories that you make up? Yeah. Change the story and you change the experience. I know Ernest Holmes said change your thinking, change your life, but that's way too simple. It really is change your thinking, feeling, imagining, way of being, change your life. You know, it really is. Just change your thinking is just way too... It's never going to happen just there. It has to be a full body experience. So you put your full body into it. What comes at the end of that? Freedom. And man, I love my freedom. I love the kind of freedom that says, I will never be in pain because I have let someone else have that place inside of me. Is there anyone here that doesn't want that level of freedom? Don't you want to just be free and leave everybody else alone to be free? My Lord, isn't that... God, the idea of that just sounds wonderful to me. You know, today when I knew my son Michael was coming today, I had all the little hopes that my boys, I'd have them all at church today, and they're like, oh no, Seth is waiting. Today is Seth's 20th birthday. I know, it's crazy. I said to him, tell all your customers that today's your birthday. He's, because he waits tables. I thought, oh, okay, I'll have my other two. Keith has a wife that has babies now. He had to stay home and take care of her. And Michael's just probably waking up from being out all night, But for one of the first times ever, I got to walk up in here and leave my story at the door. So I didn't have to develop within myself some other story and some sense of disappointment. I promise you, you have within you your heart, your mind, and your imagination, all that you need to create the experience you desire. It's right there. So let's have a healing treatment. If you will, hold the hand of somebody you love, even if you've just met them. And let us feel that deep, sweet, and lovely connection. Let us feel and sense the vibration of possibility, the vibration of collaboration, the vibration of love, the vibration of healing, the vibration of celebration that happens each and every time we attach ourselves to truth. And truth raises us up. And we let go of the human stories, and we let go of the human wants and desires. And from the high level, we see the perfection of life. And we see beauty everywhere we look. So right now, imagine yourself in front of a mirror. Look in that mirror. Look in the eyes of the beloved that is looking at you, and that you are looking into the eyes of that beloved. And in that mirror, say, I love you. And feel how you are the holder of this truth for yourself. And then take that view, take that eyesight, and look out at the world and see love. Rumi said, love is our mother. So as we become love and we become the lovers of life, we let the maternal within us love the world to its fullest and its fullness. Let us be the place where transformation happens. Let us do it through love and acceptance and patience and goodness. Let us do it by calling all things good, all people good. Let us leave our kids alone and let us leave our mothers alone and be the place where love resides. For this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. I surrender this word to love and to law. Please do so with me by releasing it. And so it is. Thank you all.